Yo, how's everyone doing? Welcome back for some more Forza Horizon 3. Today I'm sharing with you the Lola T70, which this car is only available from the Barn Find Forzathon, or it's technically called the Look What We Found Forzathon, and I just wanted to talk about this car, kind of review it, share my opinions of it, and hopefully this will help anyone who maybe won't be able to complete the challenge to get this car from the Forzathon, won't be able to play the event, or whatever the case might be, because obviously the only way that you're going to be able to get this thing is through the auction house. And I was looking in there just to see how much these things are going for, and some of them are going for a lot of money. So you want to make sure that you actually like this car and think that it's worth spending a ton of money. Now they may in the future have a Forzathon event where you might be able to win this thing again, but that isn't guaranteed. So the first thing I want to say about this thing is it is pretty sick. I mean, you saw the way the thing opens up. I mean, this is a very, very unique car. This is something that I've never seen, especially the interior. Wait until I sit in this thing. When I sat in it, I was like, what the hell is this? But this car is pretty crazy. It's definitely unique, and my opinions of it though, the outside, the way it looks, and also the sounds of the car, I don't really like the way it looks, to be honest. It really doesn't look that great. I kind of like the back end of it, but just the overall shape in the front of it I really don't like. Now I think it's really sick though, the back end of it, like the top where you pretty much can see the motor. I think that's really cool, but I don't know, overall the car isn't that appealing to me. Now the inside, like I said, is sick, but the sounds of the car, I don't like the acceleration sound, but I do like when you just kind of sit there and rev it up, or when you downshift and the RPMs go up. That sounds really nice, but the acceleration just has a weird sound to it, and I don't really like it all that much. But in terms of performance, that's where this car shines. This thing performs really well out on the streets. Now it's rear-wheel drive, it's in the S1 class, and it's actually a very fast car. Now the top speed isn't anything amazing, but the acceleration is very fast, and the car never feels sluggish. You feel like you're going fast through every gear, and that's one thing I really like. And the first gear is really long, and I like long first gears. I don't know why, but this thing grips really well, so it complements that nice launch having that long first gear. But it gets even better than that, because the launch and the acceleration and the speed is not the main thing about this car. The handling is absolutely incredible. This is certainly one of the best handling cars that I've ever driven in this game. It's certainly top 5, and I just could not believe how well it handled, because the suspension is so soft. Like, everything about the suspension is tuned very soft, and the thing is, for me, that feels really weird, because generally my cars have a pretty stiff suspension. Not super stiff, but pretty stiff. And just driving this thing, like, this is probably the second or third race I did with this car, and the first and second races I was kind of like wobbling all over the place and fishtailing a little bit, because I wasn't used to the feel of the car. But if you really give it a chance and try and get used to it, you know, this is, again, I haven't used it too much yet, but this thing really can handle very well, and you don't have to slow down too much. And the braking, you know, it's good, but you don't even need to brake all that much, because the handling is just so good. This car can turn so well, and that makes it so pleasant and enjoyable to drive for sure. But you still do have to be careful sometimes and feather the gas a little bit when you're going around turns, because if you give it too much throttle, it can lose grip certain times. Now I didn't experience it very often, but sometimes I did spin a little bit and lose a little bit of traction, and that's kind of normal for this thing, I guess, because it weighs like absolutely nothing but makes a lot of power. That's another thing. It's pretty crazy how good the grip is on this thing, considering how light the car is. But overall, I actually really like this car, and I would get it from the auction house if that's something you have to do, but I would definitely not spend over $1 million. I would definitely stay under $1 million, and the main reason I say that is there's a good potential for there to be another Forzathon where you're going to be able to win this car. We've seen it a lot, and I've talked about this a little bit before, so if you don't have a lot of credits or you don't want to spend a ton of money, you can certainly be patient and maybe just hope that there's going to be another Forzathon where you can win this car, and you might not need online that way. But this thing, the performance is certainly worth going after. If you have the money and you want this thing, I highly recommend you go and try and get one, but they are pretty expensive from what I've seen. Maybe that'll change, but as time goes on, I think they're going to get more and more expensive. So if you do want to get one, I would say to get one right now. But the weekend that I'm making this video, Xbox Live is free for everybody to use, so you can go online and do the online adventure you need to do to win this car. Everybody can this weekend, so I highly recommend you try to get it through the Forzathon, but for whatever reason, if you cannot, I really do think you should try to get it through the auction if it's a car that you're kind of interested in. But as always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video to be helpful or useful. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Let me know what you think about this car. But I'll talk to y'all again very soon. Peace out.